Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Bobby Sapphire. It is early Sunday morning, and it is time for episode 22 of the KTOD radio podcast. I'm here with the entire KTOD, and it looks like their coffees. What's up, Justin? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm at the stage of the podcast 22 where the alarm goes off and it's like my 20th year teaching school. It goes off. I say a very bad word, which I don't want to say in the first minute of the podcast, and then I wake up and I get my coffee and I head downstairs.
Yep.
Nice.
And I get to hang out with Maddie all day yesterday. We had a 1K together. What's up, Maddie?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so because I was gone all day at the 1K, I woke up before my alarm. I ran downstairs. I made breakfast for my son, coffee for my wife, walked the dogs, and was like, oh, by the way, I also have a podcast in the morning. So I greeted her with some snacks and stuff like that.
You're a renaissance man.
Nice.
You know, I just
Such a good husband.
I have my moments.
And Steve, fresh off his housewarming party yesterday. How'd that go, bud?
Oh my, it was good. Yeah, we had a good time. Got after a little bit. Definitely a little tired this morning. Actually set an alarm for the first time in God knows how long.
Wow.
I did not sleep until the alarm, but I did set it.
Nice.
But no,
I know
things
that
are good.
life.
Yeah, Justin came
Yeah, I
down.
got to visit. I got to visit Steve's actual office. I saw the little den he's got there in person. My boys
Yeah,
were having
sweet.
a good
Oh,
time.
cool. Yeah, dude, I saw the picture with you with the big, was it big champagne? That thing was huge.
Oh, the rosé. Yeah,
Yeah, the
it's
rosé,
15
yeah,
years.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still?
It was-
Did you open it?
No, I didn't. I have 3 of them though. I won.
We
3
should
through
we
work,
should do
and,
something with it.
I'm down. Like I don't have enough friends to ever actually consume an entire thing of it.
Can
Even
we
yesterday
ask the
when
draft hang if we can bring it?
Yeah, maybe we should do it at a BYOB place. That way we
Yeah,
can
that'd
pop
be
it.
sick.
Taking that
Just
to a
have it.
BYOB place would be amazing because they
Yeah.
would say like,
That'd
"Yeah,
be
sure, it's fine. Bring a
legendary.
few bottles. Bring like 1 or 2 bottles," and we're like, "Okay, cool." And
We
then we're
will
just
bring
walking
one
in with this
bottle.
giant bottle.
You set it up. I'll bring the goods.
All right, yeah, we should
Good.
set that up for one of the draft hangs. So, where our draft hang is coming up soon. If you're local to us or live in the New England area or want to just fly in, hit us up. It's the December 7th weekend, and we should be taking draft hangs to some other cities on Earth.
Don't spoil it.
That's all I'll
Don't
say.
spoil
Spoiler alert.
We'll be on Earth doing draft hangs, giving out mats and free drafts, and hopefully a giant bottle of rosé.
And visiting the communities too, which is the best part. Like seeing people in other areas, getting
Yeah.
to like connect like the screen names from Discord to actual
Yep.
like people and faces and experiences. That's what things I'm really looking forward to
Well, that's
when we
like
get
what
this thing
was
on the road.
great about Gen Con and like normally tournaments, but like there are no
There
tournaments.
just hasn't
so
been enough. Yeah.
if there were tournaments all the time, we could just do these at the tournaments. And I'll be at SCG Atlanta. Hopefully drag a couple of these guys with me so we can do one there too.
Awesome.
But it's
Yeah,
more about
Yeah.
the scheduling and stuff. So
Right. I was just gonna say, like, yes, like we get to see the local guys more. That's easy, and like that's such a good hang, and like just kind of like meeting other people's locals, putting the face to the name. Like,
Exactly.
that's what's
Other people's locals.
yeah. It's just like it's so fun. Like, I know we're all competing, and like that's the main goal. But like after like the top 8, like 10 people at the Chinese food place, like
yeah.
drinking mai tais and sharing egg rolls, like that was also probably the best part of the day.
Yeah.
I
and
forgot we got prizes. I'm gonna be honest. Mike had to remind me.
that was well, I was like, Matt, can you get my cash? And he's like, oh, cash, right? Yes, I remember.
And you lost your Quinlan.
Oh
and
shoot.
you lived a Maddie life. Although you guys crushed it. I mean, no spoiler alert, but you guys rocked it out.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about new Metal Fab tokens from our sponsor, metalfabtokens.com. We're going to talk about our 1K, huge UK event going on now. If you see me looking way to the side, it's because the stream of the top 8 is on, and I'm
Yeah.
watching while we
Correct.
record.
I'm split screen right now.
Talking about meta breakdown, and then we're going to do some Patreon listener questions. Yeah, Maddie lost his Quinlan Voss showcase. He has no idea where it is.
It's
So
not
that's cool.
in here.
If you haven't been
We're
following
not gonna
us,
expect another one.
It might be in my car. Well, I pulled that, so yeah.
this is the content we've been
Fair
making
enough.
lately. We're up to almost 6,500 subscribers. We got, even though it has the lowest views on this screen, Justin and I got a ton of great feedback. Some people, like Cuenca said, it is the best like card content he's ever watched, was our matchup deep dive.
Wild.
You
I
guys
don't know
should
if-
keep doing that.
We're gonna keep doing it. I don't know if it's the best card content in the history of card
I
content.
think people liked that. He said it was like it wasn't low effort. It took a lot of effort. You guys took notes. You talked about the match, and you talked about a game you played. It wasn't just like I don't want to name names, but some people do like re-record commentary over games, and you can tell they've never watched the game before. They're just kind of like going off the hip, which is fine, but it's just like a low effort thing. And like lots of people make that. I've definitely made that kind of stuff. We try to put a little more effort into it, and we've gotten amazing feedback on that. So
no, and just before this, we were talking about scheduling like at different places. I think one of the cool things is we did a local game shop that just opened. Battlegrounds, who's been, a New England staple for a while, but they have a new store in Framingham. So we were able to get out there. You guys were at TJ's yesterday for the 1K.
Oh, what a great venue that was.
There. So like doing the recording at like the grassroots level is really fun. But I agree, Mike. I think the process of it was really great. Like doing the games and then like having time to process it. You and I connected in the gap, and we were like, this turned like 3. Like this was really weird. I think I'm going to talk about how I resourced 2. I open-handed 2 Bright Hopes, and I resourced 1 against Jango. And really, I should have just recognized, playing back-to-back Bright Hopes would have been insane. Just like having that commentary back and forth was really good. I'm excited to do the next one. I think the next one, we hit like one of the top matchups, Sabine versus Jango.
Right.
I think that was great too, and I think for the next one we should try to keep doing that. Like hit another, like what's on stream right now for the Euro event. Like hit a top
versus
match.
Yellow Palp. Yeah, I mean we'll talk about it, but I've been working on Yellow Palp, and that's like going to be one of my big decks to like. Yeah, the thread in the KTOD Discord is popping off. I had people play it there. Like, win a case event this weekend. People are giving tons of feedback. I'm on the full now. There are 2 of them playing. That's really obviously cool. Different than what Josh is doing here, but still, got a lot going on with the Yellow Palp. But yeah, and then there's lots to explore, and there's lots of matchups to explore, and we continue to play test, right? And then we can loop back to like when we record the video and be like, okay, so I tried this line out. Like you were going super wide, but then when we actually recorded the audio, you were like, oh, I don't necessarily always want to go super wide because you tested that more. So like it's a pretty cool format, and I'm happy.
And shout out to Maddie for standing on business, because you've got the video in the bottom right hand corner. Quinlan Voss is busted. Stood on business. Played yesterday.
Yep, I did. I put my money where my mouth was. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to say quick, and this is like a little bit like turning into mini podcasts, also like KTOD meeting. I think that video should be like a format we bring back. We got such positive feedback. I think the views thing, I'm not really worried about. Like Mike said from the beginning, and you guys echoed it, is like quality content is what we want to do. So like, yeah, putting in that extra little bit, I think will be like rewarding for everyone. And like, that's the thing, is like we put out really solid, content just to YouTube, like for people to watch. So I think that's still very important. So I think you guys knocked it out of the park and like created the new way to do it, always looking to improve, and you guys like moved the bar up on that one. So that's sweet. Mike's watching the game.
Sorry, I'm like Josh is at 29.
We can't do the feedback on like the shuffling noises. There were no shuffling noises in those.
That's true.
So we don't have to build the hate of like, oh, why are these guys flicking their cards? I can't handle it.
Yeah.
Well, we beat the system on that.
That was me.
Hey man, we all got it. Don't worry about it.
And because we were on the road, we had to wear shirts. We had to keep our clothes on.
There you go. We gotta record one of the video connection and throw Survivor on in the background.
Oh my god!
Nice. And then if you haven't subscribed to Maddie's YouTube channel, you should go check it out. Maddie finally crested the 1,000 mark.
Once I hit 1K, once I hit 1K, it was just like an avalanche. And this is the meta video doing well. My tier list and the bottom there did well. Just like having fun with it, just like a way to like get a little more Maddie in your life. Said it last night at the dinner, but like a tier list is just a conversation, guys. It's not meant to like tell you how to think. It's just us talking, and that's a context for it. And then also my only correct tier list was a meme for Asmund Gold. Go check out his. He does funny tier lists. That was the idea. It wasn't to tell you what to think. But anyway, it's a good channel. I think the thumbnails pop thanks to Symbiote.
Yep.
And
Shout out Sim.
we have a good time.
And
Maddie, how often do you use that face in the courtroom? Like if someone like that should be your objection face.
Yeah,
like objection.
I object.
I'll start doing it. Like, oh man, there's a video game that like someone from Critical Role voiced the actor, and it's like wild. It's like that. It's like a court cartoon, and he's like, "Bah!"
That's great.
Yeah.
And Maddie drops videos every Tuesday.
That I do. I got to get up on them because the baby's coming in less than 2 weeks. So
Yeah, you got to bank them up. That's what
Bank 'em,
the
baby.
movie podcast I listened to did. They like banked him for like 6 months because this guy had twins. All right, shout out to Metal Fab Tokens, our sponsor. Their new streaming set of tokens, and like I can't stress enough. I just use these for like just for using them yesterday. They are incredible. They're huge. Like this is them like on a card. I don't have a unit right next to me, but they're massive. They're heavy. They're
dude, those
beautiful.
streaming ones are so sick.
Yeah, they're insane. And like the Metal Fab guy, B-Flow, he sent the message to us. He's like, "Hey, is it okay if I just send the whole package to Mike?" So I'm looking forward to getting my share. I'm sure that'll happen.
Good luck.
As I see pictures of Mike with like all like playing Tarkin next week, like, guys, sorry, I'm gonna need these.
I have
Sorry,
so
guys,
many
your
bags,
share.
but yeah, we honestly we need more because if we ever have an event, we're gonna want so many of these.
Well, it's funny because B-Flow messaged me. He's like, "Oh, your boys will love these. Like, get these for your boys." I was like, "Yeah, just send them to Mike. That's cool." And it's like, well, good luck.
I'll
Still
get
waiting
them
for
to you.
my t-shirts.
You gotta come to the one. Hey, you gotta come to stuff. But the tokens were awesome. I was using them as damage on base, but I might swap to damage on units. Some people would come over and they were like, "You have 11 life." It's like, or like, is that 11 damage? And you could also just do it like that, but it's not as
that is cool
clean.
though. I wonder how that would work.
Yeah, I might swap
There's
to
no
still
twos,
using
though.
dice. Yeah, there's no twos, so you
Yeah,
can't.
you couldn't really
can't
You
do
could
it
just
that
have
way.
them make
Yeah,
two of like every number.
yeah,
1,
that's why
9,
we were talking to him
1,
about
3.
potentially doing dice, and I know he's workshopping dice. He sent me some prototype metal dice, so we'll see what he's got in store. But he recognized that they were tough to see and made these awesome giant ones.
Yeah, the giant ones are
that are
sick.
really cool. And I used some. He also like I used some assets in my Anakin video last week, and they're just big and they're cool. And of course,
I like the idea of like a 0 through 9 concept though. That is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't seen that in like the way that people do their stuff because you have the dials with that.
Right.
But in terms of like an
Yeah.
actual like just sort of a numeric system, that would be really cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Instead of that's a really good
it's
point.
just not
'cause, like,
super
sometimes
fast to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's not as fast, but like it's. I feel like it would be a little more clear, like because
It
I
would
was
be
playing
clean,
against somebody
yeah.
and he had the tokens, the game Genic ones, and it was like a 10, a 5, a 3, and a 1, and like
Right. Exactly.
I know it's very simple, but when you're trying to like do a million things, doing like basic arithmetic like taxes your brain a little bit, you know. So it's just kind of like that's why I do the five D6 system for now when not using my sweet Metal Fab tokens. But I'm excited for the Metal Fab dice.
Yeah. So me and Maddie had a 1K. We top 8'd together. I was on Jango Tarkentown, which I mentioned in my Anakin video this week. I was probably just going to end up playing that, and the deck is it's really good, so I continued to play it. Maddie played Quinlan Tarkentown, which is something he'd been working on with Woo. I know he shouts out Woo in his list.
Yeah, I put his name right in there. I'd been working on it. Woo had been working on it, and then a meeting of the minds. My list just kept kind of sliding over to his, taking out some of my experimental cards, and yeah, I think we were like one card off. So
Cool. And then as it is a Massachusetts local, 7 of the top 8 were from the KTOD Discord, which was awesome. Eric
7 out of the top 8, and then Eric, the other one is someone we've known for 30 years.
30
Eric
years
Hunter.
since he was like literally shorter than us now.
Since he was like 4'7", now he's 7'3".
I don't think he was ever shorter than me.
He
But
came
was,
in
like,
7th.
remember when he
He's
was,
7
like,
feet tall.
chubby and stuff, like when he was a super little kid, he was chubby. We have a picture of him chubby.
I was
he
talking to him
mentioned
about that. Like I have this one.
our buddy,
There he is,
There's
right
Eric
there,
Chubby.
playing me
Little-
actually.
little
Yeah,
boy.
and then me playing Hayes. That's a good
Yep.
Wow, epic.
Wild.
Yeah, so great event. Yarn Solo with the new KTOD lady shirt. If you're a lady in the KTOD Discord, hit us up. We'll send you a shirt.
There's some
Uh,
premium fashion in that picture right there.
yeah, that's all our premium stuff. Maddie, me,
Oh
and
yeah,
Yarn are
yeah.
all in premium gear. And then me, Eric, Maddie, and Teddy came in top 4, and we decided to split so we could go have Chinese food next door, which you can see that picture. A bunch of us went out to dinner, which was really awesome. Got to sit
Yeah,
next
that
to
was
Maddie and NJ
good talk.
Cuenca, my old business partner.
Yeah, we
And
split a rainbow roll. It was nice.
yeah, it was a
Brothers
blast.
sharing some sushi.
Yeah, I would have liked to keep playing, but I know everyone wanted to go hang and eat, and I was hungry. But I would have liked to see if I could have run the table and get the dub. But it's a local; it's not that big a deal. I'm happy with how I did.
Yeah, me and Steve were telling Mike ahead of time, like, don't do the split, actually do the reverse split, which is suggests that
Oh,
only first place gets prizes.
Game mentioned that because you mentioned that on the tournament
Did I?
podcast on
Yeah.
Thursday, and he's like, "We're
Yeah,
playing
the
for it
new
all,
podcast.
right?" And I was like, "Huh?" He's like,
For those of you
"Remember?"
who don't
Game
know,
hates
we
the
have
split.
we have a
You get
a
no
second
gumption.
podcast that we do every week that is on Thursday nights and talks about what we would play in the coming weekend and our take on the meta. It's a little more hair down. So
Yeah, it's the tournament prep tier on our podcast,
Yep.
on our Patreon. Yeah. And Maddie, here's your list: the Quinlan T-Town. You made your Quinlan Bosses Busted video a couple weeks ago, and putting your money where your mouth is, coming to an event, running a version of Quinlan.
Yeah. One of the things that like I was starting to do is like boil down like what kind of cards and strategies I want to be playing and doing in Star Wars Unlimited, and like presenting threats and like disrupting your opponent to me seems like the stronger way to be playing right now. I said originally like I thought Kira would be in a good spot, and I think it would have been a fine deck to play this weekend, but I kind of had like an epiphany of like I want to be doing kind of something else here, and like I think Force Throw is just absolutely busted. Kira unit we were seeing time and time again really shine in the mono yellow deck and some other strategies. So I wanted to use Quinlan Tarkentown with that early tempo advantage to kind of pressure my opponent and then prevent them from kind of getting back in the game with some of the discard and really cheap, powerful spells or events and stuff like that. So this deck really hummed.
Looks
And
great.
like honestly, most of the work is in the first 55 cards. You're only playing Han Solo very rarely and in certain matchups, and same with like the Falcon, like it's to present a threat later.
You're saying
the
the first
meat in
like 45 then, right? Like the
Oh yeah, 45.
like,
Sorry,
the
it's
curve. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we're not in 60 card land unless you're Josh from UK.
More on that later.
But yeah. Sorry. In the first 45 cards, like it's really everything 1 through 5 here. You're topping out at Clo, and you're really like finishing them off, and then with like a 3-2, with a waylay and a surprise strike or something like that.
Yeah, it's cool. You've got like aggression mixed with like Force Throw and Kira and Spark, and then like you've got Blaster. You got a little bit of smuggle with blasters in the L37. I love the way this deck looks, to be honest.
I love this concept too. Like, I'm pretty sure that Quinlan Red was the very first deck I made. Like just of set 3, like just trying to build something with like now there are 2 of them and stuff, and it played super well and fun. The only problem with like yellow red that I've found is like the top end is a little rough to grind out against some of the decks with the other better top end, which is why I moved from yellow red, like Anakin and Quinlan, to like blue versions.
Yeah, so for me, some of the really heavy hitters there, like when I played against Thrawn on Blue Anakin, was just like Kira and Waylay and Spark, like really making sure that I didn't give him an opportunity to like use that top end, whether it was an early claim or kind of sequencing in a way that he needed to answer something early with a board presence, and then I could Spark or Kira after and like kind of blow out the rest of his turn. Like there are a few time walk turns where I just didn't, with Kira named something he couldn't play or sparked his only play, and so I basically got a free turn on him a few times. That was really good. And then I as much as I love the split, I would have liked to see how I played into Eric's Bosk deck, because we had some cool ideas out of the sideboard. Obviously, the discard package is just makes sense, but the Shadowed Intentions can present a really tough problem for them because Quinlan can take ahead. Like Eric said his deck had more units, so maybe he could have dealt with it a little better. However, Quinlan's thing is like he takes the board first and then doesn't really let you get back into it. So I think I would have been able to defend a unit or my leader pretty well with the Shadowed Intention. So I would have really liked to see how that played out. However, did I want to play into Bosk top 4 when the night was getting on and I wanted to go eat food and see my family? I don't know.
You wanted egg rolls.
Dude, those egg rolls.
Gotta get the egg rolls.
But yeah, I think the decks. I think this kind of strategy is really good, and I'll be exploring this in like Fennec Red of like different types of red yellow combos.
Just to comment on what went on in the semifinals of the OPE event, which it's definitely going to get brought up. They went to time. They had like 4 minutes for game 3. And with the new tournament update, it used to be that your life totals in the previous game mattered, but now it's just tiebreakers game 3 life total. And the Bosk Blue was able to just like drop a top target, flip Bosk, kill the guy who had the top target on him, and swing for 4 to basically like heal to 0 and do damage at on the very last turn of the game. So Irish Pierre is in the finals. I'm not sure against who.
So if you're in game 3, should you just not like do anything? Like,
well, you've got to actually do damage to their base without.
Right.
So you just need to be ahead in the race.
All right, I'm just gonna. These double loss tiebreaker rules are bad.
Well, it's not.
I think everyone believes that.
Yeah, but it's top cut, so like it's not double loss.
Yeah, there's a
it's
different.
Like,
no, I'm saying like the double loss situation stinks, and this tiebreaker is kind of weird.
Well, I mean, it's pretty clean. Like whoever has more damage wins, right? Game 3.
That makes sense. That actually makes sense. It's just a tough.
Yeah, they were playing Lightning. They only had 4 total minutes for game 3.
Right.
Yeah, place to be.
Yeah, place to be.
But they did drag game 2 out really long.
Game 2 was a grind. Yeah.
Cool. And then,
I mean, I like that there's a clear. I'll walk that back a little bit. I like that there's a clear tiebreaker rule. I don't like double loss in the Swiss.
Yeah, double loss is whack. And then I just wanted to mention that I played Space Jango deck, which we sort of already mentioned. Obviously, I have a deck tech video from a couple of weeks ago. Both our teammates, John Tata and Alex Blandon, did really well at SCG with it. So I used, their feedback and iterations to make some adjustments alongside their commentary. So made some changes. The one thing I'll say I added was sneak attack. That was really great this weekend that they didn't have. And then I saw the swoop racers in the Euro event, the OPE event. They were running 2 sneak attacks in their list as well. And someone told me in our Discord that they said it was like one of the best cards in their deck. So definitely something to look at for the evolution of the Space Jango deck.
I played. You go, Steve.
You can go, Matt. It's all.
I was just gonna say I played a few. Me too. I played a few games with it. With your version, Mike, the night before the 1K, and the sneak attack was absolutely busted. So I concur.
Yeah, I got to have an insane turn where I did the TDR for a Ruthless Raider on turn 3, and then on turn 4 I put it in there with the sneak attack, and I did probably over 30 damage. I did do over 30 damage before I even flipped Jango.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was crazy.
If you can go back 1 second.
Oh yeah, of course.
I just have I'd love some feedback from the community if possible. If everybody could please go take a look at that Space Jango deck tech and settle a quarrel that we were having with KTOD. Who is that a hologram of? Is there like a way we can like poll people? Because like I'm pretty sure it's somebody. Mike and Maddie are trying to get somebody else, and I don't necessarily believe them.
All right, go look at the Space Jango thumbnail.
No, Maddie was on our team.
Page. Yeah, I'm on your team.
It was 3-1.
Steve. Mike, tilt your head a little bit and the other way, and put like a drink.
Put a
over
robe
your head.
on. Yeah, put your Obi-Wan robe, which we know you have.
Look it.
I do have an Obi-Wan robe, but it's downstairs.
It's you right there,
dude.
That's it.
I don't know how
it's raining on Camino.
Symbiote's goated.
Yeah, the AI stuff is really impressive.
He went back into the movie and put you in. That's how freaking good Symbiote is.
That was good. Suck it, Lucas. That's the real special edition. All right, so tons of events this weekend. Wanted to shout out some of our people. doing really well this weekend. A lot of W's up there for our subscribers, posting in the Discord just what they did. Case tournaments, multiple case events, right? 3 case events up there. There's a showcase event up there. It's just like local store showdowns. Got a Jango winning. Yoda Killer won the streamed case event in Chicago. You can check out the stream. I think it was on Late Night Gaming and probably TTI. I'm not sure exactly. I was out yesterday, but he won with Cad Tarkentown. We got Krennic winning one in Pensacola. They split, but and then DJ Deathstar, shout out. He ran the Yellow Emperor Palpatine we've been working on.
DJ Deathstar and I played coffee games yesterday morning before both of our events, and we both did well. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. He cited that as like really helpful for getting into game mode. Yeah, and then we love hearing how people are doing, and there's tons of events, and set 3's like popping now. So hopefully every time we podcast, we'll have a lot of different events to talk about and like start to get a shape of the meta. What are you guys thinking in terms of like meta, like globally? We have a good mix here, but there's like Sabine's at the top, Jango's at the top, Cunningham's at the top, Cad Tarkentown's at the top, and then also Green Director Krennic, Yellow Pal. We're looking at this OPE event. The finals are Bosk Blue. I'll try and check the other finals while you guys talk about what you think.
I think Bosk Blue is something that like might be sort of a larger piece of the pie moving forward.
Yeah, I think
like the Jango and the Sabine were kind of early on, like 2 that we knew we were going to see, and then it was like some variation on Control, but we weren't sure if it was like Kira. I think SCG early on there was like a bunch of like Iden Blues, and Bosk Blue I think could sort of be emerging as like we're going to be the control deck that gets to draw a bunch of cards and play the top targets, and feels like you have a little bit you're able to stabilize a little bit differently than some of the other control decks, which are relying on only like the sort of huge threats and removal.
Right.
Bosk has removal, huge threats, card advantage, and like from top target you have the ability, and client you have the ability to like gain the life back to like a really comfortable level. Because I think anybody who's played Control into Sabine, like it's not that you die on like turn 3, it's that you just like actually do get to the later game, but then they just keep playing 2 threats a turn and like keep playing. Like Sabine doesn't stop either. Ooh, the doggy. And you end up just ultimately dying at some point, right? Like it's just sort of inevitable. You're like, yeah, I guess this deck just doesn't have it. But Bosk, you're able to like I think a lot of times people say like Sabine beats all the controls and like this and that, but like Bosk is one that I think can actually beat the Sabine.
Presents a harder challenge.
And then you got like Snoke against like the space fleet, so he's great against the. I imagine he's really good against the Tarkin deck, against the Jango decks. Obviously, he's good against Tarkin, but against the Jango decks, and like, yeah, it just feels like you kind of can. If you're playing Bosk Blue, you can be like, all right, I'm gonna do this against Sabine. I'm gonna do this against Jango. I'm gonna be bigger than all the other stuff, like the Quinlans and stuff like that.
Right.
And you can actually sort of feel pretty good about your matchups across the board.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
And I think.
Go on, Steve. Go.
I was just gonna say, and I think the further we get into the meta, the more we're gonna see on the control decks, because they're starting to figure out those numbers and what they have to be, and what avenues they need to take. Whereas maybe like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I guess 2 weeks when we did the last, it was still very early in the set in the meta. So that's when the more aggressive decks are always going to shine.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Steve. I had the same kind of trouble of like, what am I actually supposed to be leaning in towards? And if you try to lean in to beat everything, you beat nothing. And if you pick the wrong thing, you're in a tough spot. So I agree. I think we're going to see the meta kind of slow. Sabine and Jango are still insane, but I think that people are going to try to beat them, and then the boss deck goes over the top and yada yada. But like what I wanted to say too about the boss deck is like it is just such a good evolution of the old event only Iden deck where like the effective life total was so much higher. Well, with doubling on the bounties and stuff like that, he has the same principles there, but with a little more game. With some of the new, technology that's come out in 2 sets. So I think it's really solid plan. It's one that like, I remember when we did the Bosk thing, like a lot of people knew like Bosk Blue was probably going to be good, but it takes, the pioneers to like make that deck, put it on the table and get the reps and like bring it forward. And like, So I'm excited to like try all these lists that we're seeing and kind of collaborate with the group now that they've kind of pushed it, So shout out to them for like going out and doing it.
I love when there's big events like this and just lots of events because there's tons of stuff to try. There's tons of stuff to like modify and iterate and make our own and play test and just try and get a grasp on the meta.
Yeah, we have context now.
Yeah, and so here's the top 8 of that large 200-person event. It was one Sabine green, one Sabine yellow, a CAD red, 2
yellow.
Jango Tarkin Towns, a yellow Palp, a blue Palp, and a blue Bosk. And the finals are blue Palp versus blue Bosk, the classic Euro control mirror finals.
Yeah, the exact opposite of what we'd probably see in New England, where people love their Sabine and now Jango. Yeah, I mean, I like we just were talking about. The boss deck obviously has game, and if you're into one of these slower metas, I totally see why you'd be on Palp. I actually really like that yellow version. I wonder what would have happened if they didn't have the if it was an untimed 3 games, because there are so many.
Someone scooped earlier. I got to imagine that the Bosk is pretty favored into blue Palp, but I really don't know. But we could see. Irish Pierre taking it down. We'll have to see. I think we'll be done by the time the game ends. But this is a pretty interesting meta breakdown. This is all the decks that are like about 3% or more of the meta at this event. There were 28 Anakins. It had a 47% win rate and 0 in the top 8. And like conversion rate's a little tough when it's top 8 because like it's really
we don't know.
It's not necessarily indicative of the
200
deck
people's
itself.
a lot.
Yeah,
I'd look at like the top 16 if I was
if there was a top
conversion
16
rates.
conversion would be better, or like just call it 6 and 2 or better. Like how many people went 6 and 2 or better. This event chose to run Limitless, which it has a lot of the superiority stuff with the integration of deck lists in terms of like I can click on Anakin Skywalker and see how every person did, and then I can also see all right, how many people played 3 force throw versus 2 force throw or whatever, and what were the win rates of those people. So like the statistics you can get into on Limitless are actually insane. Probably would make some good content digging into some of that stuff, especially if we had a lot of events.
Yeah, that I know we're on Mela and that's the world we're going to be in, and hopefully they integrate some of this stuff. But when it was like Limitless was the thing people were trying, the content surrounding these events, as we're seeing that we can pull this up, is just so superior. So hopefully they can get some of that stuff in so we can shine a light on what's going on better.
Definitely. 62% win rate for Sabine, put 2 in the top 8 out of 12. 66% win rate for Cad Bane.
That's cool.
Only 1 top 8, but that's an insanely high win rate. And then Palp, the Palp 1, 62.5% win rate, converting 2 in the top 8, including now 1 was in the top 4 and 1 was in the finals. So
yeah,
definitely
and some Palpatine, set 3 Palpatine, playing both sides. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, low win rate, one of the lowest on here, but
sadly.
It is a tough deck. It's a tough deck to run.
Tough deck to figure out for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool one though.
It's a cool concept. I'm so glad they made it, and like I was saying this yesterday. Like it's a leader we'll go back to every set, and every meta just to see. But it's I mean, I'm excited for that yellow Palp. Like I can't wait to see what you guys come up with it and take what Josh did in this event and like kind of.
Yeah, and
see all the angles.
It's possible he didn't really even think much about Sabine because it doesn't seem like a huge part of the meta over there.
Correct. I think he played it like once, right?
6%. But like with us, we have to take it into account. That's why I'm trying to.
It would be like the third, like Anakin for around over here. Like Anakin, Jango's in like a good spot. I think Anakin would be like the Sabine number.
Yeah, and Sabine would be the Anakin number.
Right. Yeah.
Or close to it. But that's why I'm trying now there are 2 of them to try and get like an early 5-drop to kill something, or to get a 7-drop Cad Bane or Maul to kill something big, or steal some stuff.
I think the Cad Bane cheat out is the move.
Yeah, I still actually have Vader's over Maul, but like DJ that Death Star was testing Maul's. I think Vader's better at stabilizing. But
Maul gets
lots
the
to
combo.
test. But Cad's insane. Like being able to, if you're behind, he can often steal 3 guys.
Right.
Steal the guy, kill the leader.
Especially if it's early, because they're all like little booties or they got hurt. The one thing that's cool about the Maul is you can put the damage on. Like, say you like, I'm assuming you have Bazine. Like you Bazine into Maul.
Oh yeah,
or
it's all
something.
Underworld. It's like full
Yep.
McClunky Underworld. The only Imperials are Vader in Super.
You could
Laser
even
Tech
like
right now.
do Bib, which would be probably not good, but like you port the damage over to that thing, and then if you draw another one, like you could have Maul and like something else, which would be kind of nuts.
Yeah, I
Or,
don't
like you do
hate
the
Bib.
ambush kill. Yeah,
I have the Kintan Intimidator.
got it. Yeah, he played that to me. Yeah. Cool.
All right, we can start looking at some of these lists, especially the 8-0. This is You Can Call Me Al's. Sabine he ran the table, and Swiss went 8-0. Justin, he's got 3 Admiral Yularen in this main deck. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea to get I like the Anthem effects. I have Dodonna right now in mine, so that's a sort of different take on it. I think I really like Fighters for Freedom, so that's a hard cut for me. Although he does have them in the sideboard, and I really like the Rebel synergy with everything. He's got the Spec Forces and the R2s too, so I get what he's kind of doing. He's going wide, and Yularen makes those guys kind of harder to pick off. And then obviously the three Bright Hopes is cool. It's
Big
also
booties.
cool that he can like play a Spec Force maybe like on turn 2, like another 2-drop, and then like Bright Hope it. Like draw a card that's kind of nifty, like
Right.
an R2 or something like that.
Yeah, and
So
it
he's got a
makes-
little
Yes,
extra value in his Bright Hope.
It makes Spec
That's a good
Force like
point.
a clone deserter. Like it's a 2/3 with this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what it can do is it can shut down like village people for a turn and then hit it and not die back.
Right.
Yeah, I
so
think the only sort of immediate feedback I think there's a lot of good things with this list is that the 2 copies of Red 3 are sort of anti-synergistic with this because
You're trying to go
if
wide.
you're going wide, you might as well get the extra, and also the 3 Bright Hopes protect Red 3 too. So I would say like that'd be the one thing I'd look at. Obviously, I have my list that I really like, and then the other thing in the sideboard is like the Ewing reinforcement is really interesting against some of these control decks. That's something that I thought about. I think at Delphi, the 4/6 ship is also pretty good there. I also don't have Timely in my main, like dances in my sideboard a bit. But I like a lot of what's going on here. The Darksaber in the board is an interesting one for me because I like it in the mirror, but post board in the mirror it's not as good because people have Confiscate. Although that's somewhat outdated, right? People like you don't have Confiscate in this sideboard,
Right.
So it could be just the type of thing where like it actually Darksaber sort of morphs from being like this incredibly powerful thing in the main, recognizing that it's not very good in the Jango against the Jango deck, so it goes away completely, and people have Confiscate, so you don't want it, to then being like, oh, maybe it's actually a sideboard card for the mirror because the mirrors don't have room for the Confiscate. So it's one of those things that the metas evolve, and you just kind of have to anticipate what you might see. Yeah, and there's a lot of Sabine's good. I mean, it's got the heavy hitters, right? You've got the K2s and it's got the medal ceremonies. He hasn't like cut any of the very important cards, which sometimes you do see in the Sabine lists of like, oh, they'll go 2 medal or there won't be Rebel Assault. Like you have to play those cards. So
Yeah.
I
It's
like the list a lot.
definitely it's interesting. The Ewing for Wrecker plus a 1-drop sounds really cool.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to say real quick is like, Yularen's a great thing to try because like one of the things we found about Medal Ceremony is it makes all that math, like barrage math and stuff like that, kind of wonky. So I thought that was kind of like a cool ad.
Yeah, it's like built in.
Yeah, it's like half a Medal Ceremony
It's like-
on your 2/5.
Yeah, they have to target him with the barrage then.
Yep. And then the other thing real quick is like it is cool the Darksaber iteration that you just highlighted, Justin, because that's something you've been talking about for a really long time with sideboarding of like I think one of the old examples was like Fang Fighter, and it's like
Mhm.
the leveling of it all. So like now the
Yeah.
lists are almost leveling where it's like, okay,
Right.
Confiscates, we're not going to play Darksaber. Oh, they know we're taking out Darksaber, we're going to put it in the sideboard. It's
Right.
it's really interesting.
Although I will say, like Boss being a player, like it Confiscate's not in my deck right now at all. And then I'm seeing Bosk, and I'm like, yeah, it's going to go back in, and R2's going to go back in more heavy. Those are the cards I really want to be playing to dig for my Confiscates and Timelies and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the sideboard could emerge as a different type of thing. I've been high on Daring Raid, but like maybe that's something that's just you don't have room for, and you lean on Bright Hope for the Jango matchup. So kind of see where it goes.
All right, and here's that blue bosk we were, alluding to and talking about while watching the stream. But this is a blue bosk that is just like full on not gonna mess around with Jango, with the 3 perilous main and 3 more make an opening side and a 3rd Snoke side and a Clan Saxon Gauntlet side, which is like kind of problematic.
That's really
if people
neat.
don't know how to deal with it. The other thing I thought was pretty wild was just the 3 merciless contests.
Yeah, just all the edict effects.
To be honest, I love this list. I think
this is really
like
nice.
so clean, and like you've got the card draw with Deathmark and Pershing both as 3-0s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. So you're not going to run out of cards, but you also have like some legit bulk here, like Palp, Snoke, Avenger,
Palp,
Strauss,
Snoke, and Event. Like 3 Palp, 3 Avenger.
3 Palp.
He's not skimming on anything. Like you said, it's clean. People play control lists. They play a million one-ofs,
Yep.
And you've got the entrenched and perilous positions really good. You still have the 1 restock, so you can play that thing. You've got the Gar Saxon Gauntlet. So like that card's really good.
Yeah.
You've got like Force Choke if you want to go into these like play removal on the first turn of the game. I don't know, man. This list looks good.
Yeah. There's a lot to love here. I think the cleanness of it's nice. One card that I would try as like my extra card, and probably Pierre already like figured out he didn't want it, is like I wonder if the Fine Edition would be.
Is exactly what I was thinking too. Yeah.
So that's the only card.
What does that do?
It gets in
a 0.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can go.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one's cool.
0 cost. When you've taken someone out, you can play an upgrade from either your hand or either discard for not paying the aspect penalty. It's just like a way to like rebuy on some of this stuff. So that would be one thing I would try, like as a newcomer coming into this deck form, but using this very clean, solid deck list is like my baseline. Like I'll probably sleeve this up.
That's a really good baseline to have moving forward, because it's like, all right, sometimes these, like Steve said this earlier, sometimes you don't know what to do with these control games quite as much, right? But like now you've got like a really clean thing. You see like the max edict effects. What's the name of that card? The
Merciless Contest, and then Power of the Dark Side.
Yeah, I got this Hyperfoil Fine Edition.
Dude, yeah, so there you go.
Ooh.
And like one point I want to bring up is like that's what you should be doing when you get lists. Like when you get one of our lists or anyone out there, like sleeve up a list that you like and then start tweaking it. Even if you go back to their list, like onboarding yourself means trying out the other cards that you think might be good and are not, and you understand why. Because like when we talk about deck building, the deck is so much more than 60 cards. And like Justin's saying with the Sabine example of like different cards that are coming in, when you onboard yourself trying out those cards, you know which cards are going to swap in and out as the meta develops. So like if I was somebody who's interested in this archetype, I'd sleeve up Pierre's list, and then I would get to cracking on different little tweaks. And like if you come back to his exact 60, great, that's awesome. But now you know the extra stuff, and you have like a database in your head, which I think is the most important thing about card games. And like the list is just a snapshot of what you want to be doing for a specific tournament that you've set a goal for.
Yeah, but a corollary to that. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say the important part too that you're talking about is those extra 1 or 2 cards that you're going to be changing are very, especially if you're playing control, very dependent on what your local meta is. So like where we play, it's going to be the percentage of Sabine players, the percentage of whatever at like great stores is going to be a lot higher than necessarily what he's playing over in the UK. So even though this deck may win the entire event, like you're still going to want to change those 3 to 5 cards based on what you're expecting to see at your local tournaments.
Yeah, and not only that, but the meta is going to change based on something like this. Like now everyone's going to know. So like anyone telling you to play their exact list is nuts. Like you should be making adjustments, and like you can't just go playing last week's list. Like you need to make adjustments. At least try them. And like if you do end up back in there, it's not because the list was necessarily perfect in perpetuity. It's like, you got to find the right variation for, like Maddie said, the thing you sleeve up for.
Yeah.
I will say, just as a commentary here, the Entrenched is interesting with the 6 edicts. Like, is he playing the Entrenched on like Childston to make him like even bigger?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure sometimes, but there is a little nombo with Merciless and having
just the fact that now you have 6, because it used to be like, okay, I'll play like I'll play the powers first, then I'll like entrench something more in the mid game. But like you're gonna keep drawing those sacrifice a unit things, and then also like I guess the other thing there is like if you play on your own guy, like you sacrifice your own entrenched guy too, because the
With
new one
Merciless,
is both. So that's something I'd be maybe thinking about. Like, would that be better? I know it's card disadvantage early, but like would Force Choke be better there? I don't know. That seems like a little weird that entrenched is in there.
Yeah, the one thing that I found about some of these decks when I was playing Super Laser is sometimes those edict effects become really dope after the after the
After,
Super Laser
so
Blast.
you're, like,
So like
No
you
doubt.
can use the entrenched, but that is a great point. Like that is probably
And
somewhere where
entrenched
you're
often
gonna-
bridges you to the Super Laser Blast. Like
Yeah,
it
and I
saves
don't-
you. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can also
I'm not
like
super well versed with these control decks, so like
But that's
just
the
a
perfect point.
snapshot. Look.
Yeah.
I think the thing that it does do, though, is it makes you have to consider the timing of when to play some of these cards, which does add a layer of complication to the list.
Yeah.
But let's check out this yellow palp. 55 cards. Josh Freeman
is
Birch
sauce.
continues to push the envelope on how many cards he can fit in a deck that we can criticize.
Well, I will say, is it intentional that it was 54 for a while, and we were like, oh, 54 is crazy. Like, how could you ever play 54? Is the 55, is the 55th card like
a big middle finger?
Screw you.
I will say, like, so I talked earlier that I've
wild
taken my yellow palp towards a more underworld-based one. But I do like this Separatist version. It's just there's not that many Separatist cards. But he's got Poggle, he's got Confederate Courier, he's got P-38, and then he has that Droid Commando, the 4/3 Ambusher for 3, which is really good. It's just that's it. Those are the Separatists. So if you don't, and like obviously you can make battle droids with Poggle, they're Separatists. But if you can't get that online, the Droid Commando gets a lot worse.
Yeah.
And he's got Cobb Vanth to find those 2 drops. And I really love Confederate Courier. But it's just a little trait spread for me. I just like it a little bit tighter on the traits.
Maybe we need to push it to 60. Add some more Underworld.
Just go full
I
Magic,
will say
Star
if
Wars
you
CCG
are
on
gonna
it.
go past
Yeah.
50, right? Just to play this
No.
game a little bit.
Never.
No, but if you
Okay.
were Palp and a deck that cycles through with Cobb Vanth and like I think it's Invaders, like I guess there's a world where maybe that's like not that worst thing ever, like because it's Palp. But
Yeah,
I
but
don't
don't
know.
you want to draw your Invaders?
yeah,
and your Cobb Vanths?
I wouldn't
more
play
cards
more than
you add in
50,
there.
but I'm just trying to like get
That's
in the
really
head of
bad.
Josh Freeman Birch here.
Good luck there.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers change in a small way, but it's like more non-separatists,
Right.
more non-2 drops for Cobb. It's just
Super laser text.
Well, like one principle that Justin's talked about from Star Wars CCG, not that I played it, was like the deck tracking and like knowing where the bottom of your deck is. And so I think there are like, and I was playing like a lot of the bounty stuff this week leading up. I thought maybe I'd want to play like Enticing Rewards and Bounty Hunter's Quarry, and like I cycled through my deck like more than once, like 1 point whatever. So there are interesting things that could come out. Now, do you want to play more than 50? I don't know, but just kind of
It's like
something to think about.
The dodgeball meme. It's a bold strategy.
Yeah, see how it pays off for him.
But yeah, I mean, he took it to top 4. So
I think it's a cool
and he's
deck.
a good
I
player.
We were talking about Yellow Palp yesterday, and you've been talking about it for a while. So like, it is cool now.
Yeah,
We've been talking about it. We see it do well. Shout out to Josh. And like again, like I'm probably gonna sleeve up Mike's, but like I'm gonna steal some ideas from this when I do it. Like I like
The 3
some of the things
Devastator is
going on.
crazy because it's like if Palp gets to like turn 8, aren't you winning like always? Like, all right, let's just like slam Devastator.
the big
too.
I think
don't
he's
know.
predicting the control, the UK
it's
control.
so good
meta.
in the mirror, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like
I think the big
Yeah,
thing for me is no Relentless. Because
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
always like
baller card.
problematic card I thought.
That is a
Bro.
great point, Steve. I feel like I was watching those games and like there was a point where Relentless would have been pretty decent. I feel like.
Get the 56th, maybe even 57th card in there, guys.
Oh,
Yeah, get it up.
All right, and here, so I guess I spoke too soon. It's Palp. They didn't play the other top 4 yet. It's Palp 4. It's this blue Palp versus one of the Jangos in the other semifinals. They staggered them for the stream.
Oh, would they give him like a lunch break or something?
No, they just did one top 4, then the other top 4, so they could stream all of it.
Got it.
like they used to do with the Magic Pro Tour. So this is the blue palp. This very it seems like very there's nothing too spicy in here. The Traitorous is he's got Perilous and Traitorous. He's got the Client. I don't know. It's like your classic official, lots of control blue one. No merciless contest in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no overwhelming
I'd like
barrage
to
because
see
you
an
don't
opportunity.
play any units to barrage off of.
Yeah, that's one thing with palp that I've done too, is like go up and down on barrage.
Yeah, like if you look,
Yeah.
it's Black Sun Starfighter and then it's Vader. Like there's no units from 3 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then you got a bunch
wild.
of removals, but
I mean,
it's pretty wild.
one of the things that I had trouble with in like middle of set 2 with Kira was like not having things to barrage. So like I do get that.
Yeah,
Know?
it makes sense. No, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's just
such an
green
interesting
deck.
point of like freeing
Green
yourself up and being like, hey, like I'm gonna challenge some basic assumptions. Like I'm not gonna play barrage in my blue green villain deck. Like I feel like it's an auto include for so many people, but like try it. Like why? Like there's no point in not. And
Well, we're seeing these control decks sort of starting to rise, so
yeah.
I think they're maybe very comfortable with what they're trying to do, and then like these control mirrors, and then they're recognizing like, I mean, there was a Sabine that went 8-0, and I imagine it probably lost to one of these control decks. So like, it's not like a drawing dead situation. Maybe it's Perilous Position is the card that's really like
the goat.
I
I think Jango took it out, but yeah.
This is the one where I would want Poggle. I
Well
think
cloned.
he's an official. You can get the engine on a little bit easier with all the removal. Like you can protect the engine a little bit. So I think I would like Poggle in this one. I'd like to try some blue palp with Poggle.
Yeah, I like Poggle. I think that's a good call.
All right, then we got Cad Red. Cad Red, like we said, did really well at the event. And Justin, you've messed with Cad a bunch. I know, like, Wu was really excited to dig back into Cad. He said he posted a video maybe with Cad that Yoda Killer, one of his Patreon subscribers, like the list was really close to what Wu has posted in his Patreon or the video. He's got some interesting things here, like the Guavian Antagonizer. It's a little surprising. I think I would probably rather be on Kintan for the yellow and just the 1/4 not giving my opponent a card, but this is all good stuff here, all good Underworld stuff, plus Ruthless Raider, which is an absolute bomb.
Yeah, and he's got the Jabba thing.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy how little red there is in the deck. Like you're really just playing it for the Relentless Raider.
It's one card. It's one. I mean, Blaster, but Blaster is also yellow. Oh,
right.
Punishing one.
Yeah, it's punishing one in
cards.
Ruthless Raider, and like you don't even need to necessarily run the Antagonizer, like we said. Jabba for the extra trick, right? Like he pulls Bamboozle, he pulls McClunky, he pulls, now there are two of them, and pulls Waylay. This is like a lot of tricks for him.
Oh, he pulls Bamboozle. That's
I
get it.
Yeah.
No, it's cool looking.
That's nice. I
like
that.
Pulling Bamboozle is cool because then you get the card advantage. That's really neat.
And
I think
he pulls Sneak Attack too out of the board.
Yeah, this is cool.
Jabba's
I think
good,
the
man.
Jabba works. I was trying to work with Jabba for a while. With Jabba into, now there are two of them, and then like Cad or any of the Underworld cards. But I just couldn't get it to be consistent. I had trouble like just drawing like the unit, or like you don't draw the Jabba, like you're just always missing one piece.
Mm-hmm.
But this looks really good because it's got like a pretty proactive plan.
Yeah, and a million other tricks too,
and all those other things, and you've got the Forlom Zuckus thing, and like it seems like it's pretty well suited to what it wants to do. Looks good.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
And I know Wu's excited to work on it, and I'm sure we'll be spending a lot of time seeing if we can develop this and figure out the best list here. And then just the top end of Ruthless Raider Cad has been crazy.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, Cad's so good, man. And Ruthless Raider obviously always really good. Yeah, he was playing it last night against Alex, so there'll definitely be some games and some content around it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool, like the Jabba Bamboozle thing. Like that's something we never thought about. That could have been a set 2 like Yellow Boba thing. We just never thought of it because it's like it doesn't pop up on the deck list generator. But that's really neat.
Yeah, we're kind of beholden to that thing telling us what to do.
Right.
But yeah, it's always nice to explore the tricks with Jabba. I like Jabba. I've been a fan of Jabba since set 1, and I hope he continues to see play. Anything that gets stuff out of your deck, it's great.
Also 8 booty. Yum.
8 booty. All right, so here's that yellow Sabine. I don't think there's anything like too nuts in here. We've seen Sabine's like play the daring raids. They're really good against Jango. He's got liberated slaves here for the extra 3/5.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just the 0/4 cause, and then leaning into the actual just curved nature of the deck and like the sneak attacks. That was when I looked at this list. I was like, all right, this makes a lot of sense because you're getting. So when set 3 first came out, like I thought like Yellow Sabine was gonna be really good, but it's like one of those things where you just like you have trouble like sort of finding your baseline, and then you're like, all right, I want to play sneak attack. I want to play like surprise strike. Card like daring raid could be good. Like I just don't know how it all fits, and then you got 4 cause. But this looks really. I'm excited to try this one. I think it looks really. You got like crafty smugglers, with all these Jango decks like tapping down your things. Now you got
shield boys,
6 shielded guys. You got 6 3/5s and fighters for freedom.
Yep.
And you've got enough rebel like fleet lieutenants there with a few rebels. It's a lot to like here.
I like that the sneak attack frees you up from just being like a regular curve deck. Like like one thing that we've seen get eaten alive is decks that just straight curve out, and so you do like the early curve or like a 2-3-2-2, and then like your sneak attack is letting you like sneak out a K2 and then also do something. So I like that. Like it kind of frees you up to like go wide.
And use all your cards,
like,
right? That's what aggro wants to do is like use every single one of their cards. If you end the game, you lost with a bunch of cards in your hand. Yeah, right.
I like the added value L3 has gotten now to that CAD's actual build card. And people actually do capture.
Yeah, Mike, you should revisit not Jango. What the heck's his name? Lando and Zori, and just go absolutely Nova.
Yeah,
and then you don't have to worry about it.
Maybe I'll see if we got any help with set 3. I'm not sure that we did. In the red yellow
seems
early.
Close.
I know, but these are all other than R2. It's all set 1 stuff.
2
Sabine.
Yeah, but and you wouldn't even run Sabine and Lando because what you want to do on 4 is like
Lando.
cheat out something huge, like a Zori or a Big Falcon or something.
The R2 is a big. I mean, you only have.
Yeah, I'll try it with R2. So this is the Swoop Racers version of Jango. They've got some innovations that we had last weekend. The crafties, the 1-tie advance, and Imperial Interceptor. They're on Confederate Tri-Fighter, which I'll still maintain. Like I don't like. It doesn't do anything against the best heal card in the game, Vigilance. They literally get to destroy it and then still heal the 5.
And then heal. Right.
So like. I'm not saying it's not good in every situation, but it's not good against some of the best cards.
You prefer Wolf, right?
I like Wolf.
Because it turns it off when played or when attacked. So after they that's the thing. It's like a static effect versus like what Wolf does. Wolf a trigger.
I played against Blue Bosk, and like I'll say this: if Irish Pierre like influences this meta at all, and people are playing more Bosk, like I played against Eric, he dropped a top target, or like he activated his client, and he was gonna flip Bosk and do the heal 10, and I just slammed Wolf, and it's done for the turn. He has to go next if he wants to heal, and he also has to kill the wolf. And if it's not his Bosk flip turn or something, or like I can tap down his Bosk at the start. Like I can also just like claim if he does anything, attack with Wolf next turn, and he still can't heal. So the Wolf was really great for me in the one matchup I boarded it in. I just know I don't like Confederate Tri-Fighter because I don't think it does what I need it to do. He's on swoop. These guys are on swoop downs instead of breaking in, which
done 12 events, which I think is
low for ISB agent.
Low. Yeah.
But it's also possible that they don't always want to ISB on turn 1.
Yeah, you kind of save them, right?
I know, like
it's such a cheap tempo play.
I was doing that a little bit more aggressively, like in our video, Justin. I was like always doing that, and some of the lines I took yesterday were like just running out a crafty, a cartel, or a Kylo tie,
and then doing it later,
and then using it later, like. Especially on the play where I can like put out a 2-drop and then still have initiative. I can tap down with ISB agent the next turn, which is really great.
Turn 3, playing a 3-drop.
It's just like using it as just using it as a spell alongside something else works really well. So that's probably making the 12 a little more palatable, but I still think that's crazy low. And I like breaking in. I think like you don't just not having to go through every Sentinel, and people are going to be playing a lot of Bright Hope. I played quite a few
Yeah.
Bright Hope decks yesterday, and you can deal with the first one, but the second one can be a lot tougher.
Can be a pain in the ass.
It does make sense. Like that's the card that you might look at, like shifting some of your spells to that. Like even if you're not dropping down to 12 and just straight up cutting it. Like if you wanted to get more surprise strikes or surprise strike, sneak attack. Sorry, in your deck. Like breaking in is probably the card that you could look at. Like, all right, is it necessarily crucial that you have to play 3? Like the +2 versus the +3 is a big difference. So that is interesting. That like obviously you're gonna play 3 surprise strikes. You're gonna play 3 triple dark raids. Like that's 6 spells. Oh, there's no daring raid.
He doesn't have daring raid, which is my next.
Or breaking.
No.
Yeah,
Wow.
the no daring raid is a little bit more wild because now you're not going like 3/1 drop plus daring raid to target down something problematic.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
a little
like
more curvy.
no daring raid, and then like one card I like, and I know you're already on it, but I just want to like from someone who's only played the deck a little bit. Like I love the tank. Like I was playing your version, and like there was a point where like if I hit the tank off my TDR, I just like win the game because they swerve into space and like they do that whole thing, and you can just like really kind of get them there. So like that, I'm glad like to see.
I had a
people play
couple
it.
double exploits on the tank. There was one game where I had all 3 ISB agents, and I'm just like happily eating 2. Anytime you can eat a Ruthless Raider late game is like really great to do the extra triggers.
Did you ever try Genozin? Is it just not good because it's the body stinks? Because like it's kind of a similar principle of like.
Yeah, we just
you
don't
have
need
this-
the bounce. Really, is all it is. It's just and you don't
It's like
ever want to.
seems like- okay.
You don't want to eat your board because those ISB agents they tap down opposing units.
Right.
So you're not like dying to blow up your board.
Because they're gonna like suicide into whatever.
But like
The
with
tank just as a 5-drop seems good. Like knocking
Off
out
the
one
thing.
guy.
Yeah, I love the tank.
yeah.
I just slammed it against Sabine yesterday. Like I ate one guy, I tapped down their Sabine, and then my Ruthless Raider killed the Sabine the next turn.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
I think Jango is insane. Like
Jango's so
it's so
good.
funny. It's like Sabine is the deck that everyone wants to like get reps into, and like I'm seeing more and more like that change to Jango, at least in our internal testing.
Yeah, and
It's like a big stress tester.
This is Dave's version, which is pretty close to what Tada ran last week, where he has the 1 main interceptor, 1 main advance. He does have the swoop down main, and he has a Van Braces in main.
And the CAD and this looks very similar, right? Maybe.
I actually think it's like only one card off of what Tada ran last week, and it's the swoop down. I'm pretty sure. I think maybe Tada ran 2 Waylay. But either way, it's almost identical. It's got a lot of this. I mean, the lists aren't going to be that different. And Dave snuck in at 6'2". I think it was the only 6'2" to sneak in, so pretty cool. Must feel good, especially since he's in the top 4. But yeah, deck is great. I think it's really strong. I'm locked for Worlds. I'll be playing this.
Booyah.
Is that official?
I mean, Worlds is going to be set 5, so I don't know, but I hope. How many ships are we getting till then? I feel like this is a broken record, but every time I think, we're probably hit the max of what we're gonna do. 2 weeks ago we were at 1227. We've had 75, almost 75 more, and it's like fluctuated. That it's been like up and down on 1300 as people end their final months and rejoin or whatever. But we've got 1,300 members officially right now, or we did last night when I was making these slides.
Yeah, and people are really digging it, which is awesome.
And
the vibes.
the crazy thing is like there's not a lot of arguing. Like there's no mean-spirited arguing. It's like all about the game. And I don't know if we mentioned this last time, but through election season there was not a single political conversation in the Discord. It's just like everyone chilling, talking about cards, having fun.
Our community's insane. We're so lucky. Like it's unbelievable.
Stop saying I don't have enough friends to drink the rosé because that's telling me contrary other beliefs.
How many can we divide that up into 1,300? That bottle probably.
Probably it's 15 liters. Jesus, I don't even know how many ounces that is.
Get on that math. All right, so we'll do a couple questions.
Funny.
We've only got a couple minutes left before I have to go. From Mark. In the UK, I've seen a number of people hot on the bandwagon for this new Set 3 card. I'm interested to hear your takes on for what makes it so good. And I think this is commonly appreciated as one of the best cards in Set 3.
Yeah, when I did my top 10, I wanted to put it on. I did it as like an honorable mention. And a few times we'd mentioned like this card's just like so insane because I think the deal is like the tapping is like really strong. Like just the fact that you always get that. If you think about make an opening, there were so many games because like there's not that many X2s in this game. So like there's some heavy hitters, but like there's a lot where you just want it to sort of stick for more than just that one turn.
Yeah.
So like the -2, it's like yeah, it's -2, but then they go right back. Like you're just
Yeah.
like you're not really
You can't
doing
make an
much.
opening Poe. Like you're
Right,
still taking
exactly.
6, and then you still have to kill him.
So like this is something that it can go on leaders, and it stops them from like being, pushing that damage for a while. It's like it's good against like cards like Overwhelming Barrage, where you get to like knock down something. The Boba ban, I was full supportive of it, but I think this card would have been actually like pretty good against like Boba, like oh you tap your Boba, now you can't like untap your
Yeah, you
resources.
can't pop
Right.
off this turn. I mean, we saw
Yeah.
that No Good to Me Dead.
The
One of the best
exhaust is
things to
such
do
a
in the
blow
mirror,
too.
like
Yeah.
On unit
I-
like needs to
yeah.
tap to like get the extra resource. Sabine can't ping and it's like delays them. It's basically like a heal 5 sometimes. It's great.
Feels like a jacked up version of that JT Mike wanted to play in Ray Blue.
Yeah. What was that
oh
card,
yeah,
Mike?
Unexpected Escape. Yeah, and like
Right.
yeah, exactly. And this is like it's a great version. It's as opposed to like some jank version. So yeah, I think-
Right, yeah, we were playing like that just to get a tap down.
Yeah.
I think Perilous is,
Yeah.
is very, very good.
You could almost things like choose 2 modes, like tap a unit, make a unit -2 for the remain. Like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like one of those like double
Right.
yeah, the mono
legend cards
modals.
from the first ones. Yeah.
All right, Steve, do you think we need more Obi after seeing results from case tournaments, SCG, other events, a trend in the meta? A lot of decks ping. Quinlan, Cad, Jango, Bosk, Ray, etc. Do you think Obi-Wan sees more play to counter these ping decks? Maybe even Luke? Maybe even Luke since he can shield units to protect them? I think we've seen more Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like Obi, and I just wish I could figure out how to make it work. I think the important difference between, say, Obi and Luke is with all of the ping decks, it makes the field probably worse on Luke because they can just pop it a lot easier as opposed to like if you had like a shield on a Bright Hope, they'd have to attack into it twice. Now they can ping the shield to pop the shield and then attack into it. I do like Obi in general. I think the fact that we haven't actually seen like a blue-green hero deck emerge anywhere for the most part is kind of telling, and I think there's definitely some options there. I don't know. I know one of the smaller tournaments you posted results earlier. Obi.
There was an OB I saw
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah, top first place OBCA. I think there's some. I know we talked about this on the mini pod a little bit, and it's something I've kind of been working on behind the scenes with one of our office hours guys. But the same way that we talked about earlier, control is starting to develop because they're starting to find where they'd be and how to position the meta. I think blue green will eventually get there. Just nobody's figured out.
Marshall's in the house. He's like an Obi-Wan.
Nice.
Yeah, I tried to get him to go ask my wife for
Obi-Wan
Treat.
advice.
and he did, but now he's back and better than ever. Well, I didn't want to say the word because if I say the word, he's gonna want to go eat another one. It's not even 8 o'clock, so I don't want him eating a lot of those.
That's like when I say cookie run.
That's the word that I'm trying not to say. Exactly. Again, the dogs. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I mean, like Obi's in an interesting spot because like you can turn off the Tarkentown play, but your guy still gets tapped against Jango, so it is interesting. But I agree. Like I think that is an area that needs to get explored. And I think these kind of mid-range decks just need a lens to look at, and they're starting to get that lens.
I think the combination of Conquer Dawn and Bright Hope right now is just backbreaking to all of these Jango, and if anybody's playing like Tarkin, Phantom Tide type decks there, like just how Mike was saying earlier, you know, you can get through the first Bright Hope really easily. It's the second one that's a problem. Like when you can do Conquer Dawn into that, like you pretty much just lock up space completely.
Yeah.
And a Sentinel that's not going to get Tarkentown because you can wipe it away is interesting. That's a great point, Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah, that and Luke just like creating those doubles, like you said. Kylo, why isn't Kylo getting more love? Why is Kylo getting no love? What is he missing? McFrigo asks. I think he's missing booty.
Ray.
Missing Ray. I just think like if your leader gets ECL record and doesn't die
Yeah.
back, like that's just a real tough spot. That's why I think like Asajj is kind of mopey, though I do like that people are playing her with Petronaki Arena, so she does a 4-attack off the flip. But just these 4 defense leaders are rough.
Yeah, it's hard to figure them out. I looked at one with like the blue base to make him a 5/5, but it's hard, especially when you have like similar type of aggressive leaders like Jango, and even who's the new one, the Ventress, is it Ventress?
Yeah, Ventress.
Ventress is like a 4.
Now let's
doesn't-
say.
Yeah, just now I'll say aggro. I just don't see it. Like, there's just like if there was no such thing as Jango, and if there was nothing else, like maybe he would see a little more play.
Not even
but I
that
think
though.
it's hard. Jango's so good.
If your leader dies to open fire, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, one of the tough points too is like when we explore those color schemes, the early units are just not good. They're like 3/1s and stuff. So like even if the leader, like, you could do a build around like the early. Marshall is
Marshall
going
loves
out,
Philo.
but yeah,
He's
like you just can't.
OG.
I don't know. It needs some help and more than just a leader.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll save the rest of the questions for the next one. We're over 110 now. I've got to go to my daughter's 5K, so let me go to the final slide.
Oh,
no,
she's playing 5Ks. You're playing
she's
1Ks.
Yeah, no, she's
leveled up.
flying to a 5K. Cool. So, yeah, lot to love about the game. I know there's been some like anti-Doomsayer videos, but like the game's great. Everything's going great.
game's dope.
If we just have a little more OP, everything's gonna be amazing.
I mean, 200 people in UK is pretty indicative of.
Yeah, and that's
It's
by
huge.
like a
People
non.
wanting-
And the thing is, we need people making those events. Like we need more than SCG. We need people to step up and be the event people.
Yeah, shout out
in
to those
America.
guys for setting it up. The content was really, really
Absolutely
good.
amazing.
They're
And,
in
like,
the lead here in that
hopefully-
I mean, if only we were doing a KTOD 10K. You know, like
Yeah, I mean, I just got all these sweet graded cards to add to the prize wall. Got a foil
Oh, baby.
Mando.
oh, that's gross.
Yep.
one. Those
So
are sick.
Oh,
Just-
I have some hyperfoils to give you. Hyperfoil Vader, and I had to use my hyperfoil Falcon because I only had 2. But
yeah,
that's gonna
I
go in the
think the
prize.
foils
pool.
are gonna
I
get
have
low
I have a
grades, but
Poe.
I'd like
Whatever.
some
Yeah,
non.
yeah.
We don't
some
have to
non-hyper-
grade them all. If
That's
you
true.
think
We
they're
don't,
not-
but I might try anyway. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll check you next time.
Booyah! Great pod,
Peace.
guys.
See you guys.
Later.